Hello guys, welcome to the New Moon Cancer video. Today we are talking all about this new moon that's coming up on June 25th, 2025. I hope everybody is doing well. If you are watching this video on divination, welcome. If you are watching this on my YouTube, welcome. Either way, if you're not subscribed to my personal YouTube, Eden I Tarot, what are you doing? With that subscription, you do get to see all of the horoscopes that come out with this video on the actual day of the new moon or the day before, depending on how good I am on editing. But I do encourage anybody that's watching from divination to go ahead and subscribe to my personal YouTube channel just so that you guys can make sure that you get in on the horoscopes that come out after you guys have seen this initial video of the new moon breakdown. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Grab your snacks, grab your wine, grab your popcorn, your planners, whatever you need, because this is going to be a really nice moon. I actually really like this one. So, the first thing that comes to mind when we look at this new moon in Cancer, so first of all, new moons are already about kind of like the unseen things that we feel, but can't really bring any sort of proof to, which is interesting because this moon is making a sextile to Mars and Virgo loves proof. It loves to fact check things, which I think is extremely helpful. And we'll get into that a bit later, but let's kind of get back to the new moon part. So the new moon is where we are just starting in a process. It's a new beginning. And with Cancer being such a fertile sign, it has a lot to do with real estate, family. It can have quite a bit to do with money and security, but Cancer is about security in kind of all aspects. It's about emotional security first and foremost. It can be about security of like the physical home and also really trying to find where do you feel emotionally safe. And so with this new moon, since Cancer is a water sign, what we can also see is that we're a bit more sensitive at this time. We're a bit more emotional. We can be going through a lot of transitions and changes in our lives and trying to make sense of those things, and as well as trying to align our emotional needs and safety and comfort with those changes, and trying to basically figure out where do I find security in all of this change, since Cancer is ruled by the moon. We don't really have a ruler of this moon in another sign for this new moon because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the new moon is what we're talking about. And so we have the first aspect I want to just bring up is going to be that this new moon is at a 4, which is a Cancer degree. So we can see themes of, yes, emotions, we can see themes of the past, we can see themes of home, domestic life, even death sometimes, but we can also see a lot of like fertile energy with Cancer. We can see ancestry and history coming up as well. We see that Jupiter in Cancer is actually conjunct this new moon. Jupiter can be a lot about beliefs. And so what we can see with this new moon conjunct Jupiter in Cancer is like our beliefs changing about where do we feel emotionally safe or where is home? Do we travel far away to find home? Or is home where we come from in the past? Is a home back in like our hometown? Is it somewhere with a spouse? Is it with a partner? Is home where the heart is? That is the kind of thought process that I'm seeing kind of come up, or like the ideas that are kind of being bounced around as well. Either way, I think a lot of conversations are going to be happening around where should I settle my roots, or where feels right to settle in, both emotionally, financially, and physically as well. Jupiter can also be about marriage as well as pregnancy. And so Jupiter is at a 3 here. And so we can see possibly some pregnancy announcements. I told you guys that June was going to be a very fertile month. And I was not lying, starting with that full moon in Sagittarius that we just had. And we are continuing a lot of that fertile energy now. with Jupiter being in Cancer at a 3, which is a Gemini degree. So we can see a lot of pregnancy announcements. We can see conversations coming up about whether or not to expand the family, and just kind of having that back and forth with a partner. But we can also be seeing possibly some conversations surrounding documents, around moving and wanting to sign documents. I would say if you're having those conversations, take your time. We do have a Mercury retrograde coming up in July. And so there's no rush, but I think this is when a lot of those initial conversations are going to be coming up, is around the new moon in Cancer. You remember that with the new moon in Cancer, we're at the beginning. So not everything has to be finished right now. And so we can also see just kind of expansion um, around like our family in general just becoming a big focus too, or wanting to buy a new home with family, or having family just be a very big part of our house or new beginning. All of that I think can come up. I don't, for some reason, this gives me like multi-generational living. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's like the Jupiter thing and like big family, one house. It gives me that kind of, it gives me just like very togetherness kind of vibes, which is interesting because we have this new moon squaring up against Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which one can bring a lot of emotional burnout, but it also highlights the difference between who are you and what who does your family say that you are? Is there a difference between the two? Are you voicing that difference, in particular with Jupiter at a 3 in Cancer? Is there something that you're hiding because you don't feel emotionally safe with certain family members or certain loved ones to be able to tell them about certain thoughts or certain movements that you're making? All of that I could see come up because Neptune can be about what's hidden. It can also be about where we are kind of putting up an emotional wall or smoke and mirrors, especially with Saturn there as well. But Saturn in Aries conjunct Neptune in Aries is like saying basically, who am I? And with this big focus on family, it's like really defining who I am versus who I am with my family. And, do I need to maybe do a little bit of severing? Because a square is going to be of the nature of Mars. And so it's saying, do I need to do a little bit of pruning when it comes to the relationships with my family? Do I need to set some boundaries when it comes to certain things that my family needs for me to do because I'm trying to build something a bit more solid for myself? That could also be something that's coming up. And I think it definitely is because we have this sextile from the new moon and Jupiter to Mars in Virgo. Like I said, Virgo likes to have proof of things. It likes to be prepared. It likes to have um, lists. And so it likes to really make sure that we are prepared for the things that we're trying to create. And if there is some sort of identity crisis that's happening, you're going to feel like you're just kind of running and wandering in the desert here, and you're not making much progress. And that's where Mars and Virgo is coming in. And so if you are looking to have a baby, Mars and Virgo is going to say, okay, but are you physically prepared to have a baby? Are you putting a lot of stress on yourself? Are you emotionally burnt out by your family, possibly? And you're just taking on so much that your body cannot handle a pregnancy at this time. And if so, you need to cut some things out because Mars, again, is going to be that energy of severing something. Just because it's in a sextile does not mean that severing is not happening. It's just like a reconstruction. And that's also what that square to Neptune and Saturn in Aries is creating as well. It's cutting out all the things in parts of your life that are, I don't want to say a distraction, but aren't completely focused on you, so that you are able to bring in and focusing on you so that you're able to bring in more of that structure so you can bring in that new beginning. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're kind of running in a circle, chasing your tail, and not getting much of anywhere. Mars in Virgo as a placement is also about change of direction as well. It's a bit of a pivot. Virgo is a mutable sign, and so it's going to really focus on also responsibilities as well as judging what is meant to last versus what kind of just looks nice. And so it can be a real reality check when it comes to if we're being a little bit delusional, especially when it comes to our identity in our true selves. Are we showing our true selves? Are we being authentic to our own dreams and our own wants and needs and comforts for someone else? If so, we're never going to be able to create that new beginning that we're wanting because we're always showing up and giving our energy, our dreams to somebody else and giving that control up in that way when that's not necessary. And so this new moon is going to definitely, I think, be one where we see a lot of growth and especially new preparations happening when it comes to creating a new sense of family. Even if you're not getting pregnant or not having those conversations, it could be, I just need a new fresh start. And so I want to move somewhere else or I need to move back home so that I'm able to get a better sense of groundedness or I need to save money even. Or I just need to really figure out who I am before I can settle down roots. And I need a bit of clarity. And that's what that Mars in Virgo is really creating. And so I hope this was helpful, you guys. Please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What are you most excited about with this new moon in Cancer? As I said before, if you're looking for the horoscopes and you're watching this through divination, you can check out the horoscopes. This should be out. That video with the horoscope should be out on either June 24th or the 25th, the day of the new moon. But either way, if you're watching it at divination, just remember that. If you are watching this on my channel, you can stay tuned and we'll have your horoscopes and horoscopes in just a second. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.